What up? What up? It is your boy Tay P, aka TSN, back for episode 4 of What's Hawkin. We are breaking down every NFL team schedule in order of its importance to our, there it is, championship Super Bowl winning Seahawks. Every single game in the regular season, or I should say almost every single game, has some implication one way or another to our Seahawks in their standings in their quest to repeat, go to SoFi, plant a flag in another enemy territory, um, and crown ourselves again as champions. We want another one of those dope rings that we just saw um, the players receive a couple of weeks ago. But and we'll go throughout the season. I've got some battle cards, sort of like cheat sheets week to week on games that we should focus on. Um, I'm a math nerd, so I did the math. There are 272 regular season games overall. Of the 272 games, 173 of them, so almost 100 less, 99 less. 173 of those games have implications in one way or another to the Seahawks. And those implications obviously are stacked in priority, having more or less impact on the schedule of the Seahawks, even if these games don't involve the Seahawks directly. And so that's the motivation of this series is to kind of break down what other people do and how it impacts us. And so we've already gone through teams 32 through 5 for a quick recap, and I'm gonna do this in real time and just count down. Matter of fact, I think I can do this off of my phone if I'm not mistaken. Here, let me just read it off to you that way. Do. Bear with me 1 second. Buffering because the tons of tons of uh tons of engagement. Shout out to y'all. While I'm doing this, quick shout out to the Facebook community. Um, I was very vulnerable and called out the fact that we've got goals here at What's Hawkin. We want to grow this brand. We want to grow this channel. And everything is centered around the 12s. This is a football channel, so we welcome all fans, whether you're a Seahawks fan or not. Hopefully, you learn something about football or you get excited about something related to football that you can take with you and apply it to your fandom for your team. But certainly, if you are a Seahawks fan, if you are a 12, this is the place for you. We want to make sure that we cultivate the greatest fan base in all of the planet. And so we had a goal to by kickoff by week 1 to have 1,200 followers on each social media platform, and that's still a goal for other social media platforms, including here on YouTube. So if you're watching, please click that subscribe button. Shameless plug. But on Facebook, in 20 days, we reached our goal. In 20 days, we reached 1,200 followers. Last I checked, I know we passed 1,300. I think we're climbing towards 1,400 followers on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, or X, if that's what you call it, and certainly Instagram are all still working towards that first milestone. But as far as Facebook is concerned, we're already going to goal number 2. If we can reach 1,200, why not 12,000? And if you're wondering the significance, everything is centered around the 12. So every single goal will have the semblance of our fan base and our namesake. Still buffering. A lot of content to go through. I didn't realize I posted as much as I did. It seems like the memory lane posts are really captivating a lot of folks' attention. It's pretty cool to go back and look at key moments or key plays, key games or memorable moments, and for me, some moments that happened even before I was born. So I'm learning about the team that I love so much, and seeing everyone sort of share their experience as a Seahawk fan. Okay, we're here. So we've gone through the teams 32 through 5 in terms of ranking, and I'll just quickly read them off. 32 was Cleveland, the Browns. 31, the Tennessee Titans. 30, Colts. 29, Bengals. 28, Ravens. 27, Steelers. 26, Texans. 25, Jaguars. That's the first 8 teams. If I'm not mistaken, all of those teams do not have an NFC West team on their schedule whatsoever. They don't face us, they don't face the Cardinals, they don't face the Rams or the 49ers. So, quite literally, they could all go 17 and 0 or 0 and 17, and for the most part, it just doesn't impact us. But then we got 24, the Jets. 23, Dolphins. 22, Buffalo Bills. 21, the Saints. 20, the Falcons. 19, we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 18, we've got the Detroit Lions. 17, the Vikings. 16, the Packers. 15, the Patriots. And 14, the Panthers. I may have jumped the gun maybe by one team, but for the most part, all of the teams that I just listed in that batch play at least one NFC West team. Um, 14, Chicago Bears. 13, Las Vegas Raiders. Um, yeah, 11, we've got the Chargers. 11 were the Chargers. 10 were the Chiefs. Um, 9, the Broncos. 8, the Giants. 7, the Commanders. 6, the Dallas Cowboys. And 5, the Philadelphia Eagles. Those last 8 teams that I just named, every last one of them play all 4 of the NFC West teams. That was in episode 3. And we kind of broke down the key weeks and the key games that we need each of these teams to either win or lose, depending on who they're playing within our division. And here we are to go through teams 4, 3, and 2 in terms of order of importance to us, our Seahawks. And that is all 3 of the NFC West foes. Every single one of our enemies, uh, every single game that they play has an implication to our standings. Um, because we're division rivals. Only one can win the division. And as we all know, the division winner automatically gets a bid into the playoffs. Even more than that, the NFC West, especially last year, by a landslide, was the most competitive and best division, meaning every single team, with the exception of Arizona, was a formidable opponent to anyone that they stepped on the field with. And it was an arms race between us, the Rams, and the 49ers on who was going to win the division, and by proxy, who had a shot at being the number one seed in the entire conference. And we know that we locked up that number one seed in week 18 in Santa Clara, the the crime scene that ended up being a double homicide, if you will, because we spun the block 3 weeks later, and or 4 weeks later, because we had the bye week, excuse me. But in week 18, 4 weeks later, we were back to take the Lombardi home. So we're going to go through every NFC West team today, break down their schedule, and point out key weeks where, unfortunately, we're rooting for these guys. Every single team in our division at some point, I'm not saying we put the jersey on, but we want them to win games, and I'll go into a little bit more as to why in a second. But without further ado, at number 4, and if this team was not in our division, they would certainly not be ranked this high because they are bottom of the barrel. Definitely, ripped everything down to the studs. They currently have their quarterback holding out like he is the bell of the ball in Jacoby Brissett. But number 4, the Arizona Cardinals. There's not much to talk about in terms of their schedule just in general because of what I just mentioned. They're not anything to cry home to mom about, but they are, and I'm not one who cares so much about what the odd makers say because odd makers can get it wrong all the time, and I have nothing against Vegas or any of the platforms out there. I'm not going to name any of them because they might end up being a partner of what's Hawkin. But what I can say is that it's not common for a team to be the underdog throughout the entire season. The Cardinals are not a favorite in any of their 17 matchups. I'm not a historian, so I don't know this for a fact, but it wouldn't shock me if this has been the first time that's ever happened. Now that I think about it, the Detroit Lions did go 0 and 16 one season. I'm sure odds makers didn't necessarily have them favored throughout the season, but I don't know that. And maybe going into the season, they were favored for a game or two. Who knows? But this is 40, 50, maybe even 60 days out as of today between now and the kickoff to start their season, and they're already expected to lose every single game. So it's no shocker they don't have any primetime games on their schedule. The Cardinals have 5 of their divisional matchups before their Week 14 bye week. No shocker there. The Week 14 is the latest a bye week can happen. So quite literally, at the end of the bye week cycle is where the Cardinals catch a break. So it's not shocking for them to have most of their divisional games before then. They do have back-to-back games at the Seahawks, and they have a home game against the 49ers in weeks 2 and 3. So early in the season, they have back-to-back divisional games, which again, I can't stress enough. Divisional games are extremely difficult games, irregardless of who takes the field. It's just the nature of the beast. A team can be 0 and 16 in the final game of the season. They're going to play their hardest against their division rival. The Cardinals do have 3 straight home games later in the season. That's weeks 12 through 15, which includes that week 14 bye week that I made mention to. So they do have a long stretch where they don't have to pack a bag, they don't have to get on a plane or a team bus. They can, have home cooked meals, sleep in their own bed. Um, that sense of consistency and normality usually bodes well for teams. So those home stretches are where teams tend to uh, catch fire, or and if they're not already on fire, then they certainly have that added momentum. But again, I said that we got to root for these guys, and I know it sucks. Um, but here's why: there are division rivals. Now, emotionally, I would love for the Cardinals, the 49ers, and the Rams to all go 0 and 17. Emotionally, I would love for that to happen, but it's mathematically impossible because in order for someone to go 0 and 17, that means their division rival will have had to have beat them at least twice. And in the case of having 3 of them, that means 6 games. So there's 6 wins out there that we don't necessarily want to go to any of our foes. If there's anyone that goes 0 and 6 or 6 and 0, excuse me, against their division rivals, it's gonna be us. So what does that mean for all those other divisional rivals? We need them to split every single um, um, rivalry. So we need the Cardinals to split with the Rams and the 49ers. And specifically, we would prefer those wins to be road wins. A home loss is significantly impactful on the standings. If there's ever a tie, division wins is a tiebreaker. Home games is also a third tier or fourth tier tiebreaker. So every home loss is worse than a road loss. So here's the weeks. We need the Cardinals to go on the road week 3 and beat the 49ers. I just told you that they're not favored in any of their games, including their home games. So we are going out on a limb. This is a Hail Mary wish. We need the Cardinals to shock the world in week 3, go out to Santa Clara, Lumen Field Jr., and take care of business. And in week 6, we need them to go to SoFi, which will soon be Lumen Field the third. And we need them to go to SoFi and eke out a win against the Rams. If the Cardinals can do that, that bodes well for our Seahawks. Moving on to bigger and not better, but more important foes. We're going to go to number 3, the San Francisco or Santa Clara 49ers. Now, the 49ers have 4 straight home games to start the season, weeks 1 through 4. But this is a fraudulent home game stand because that very first week 1 game is in Australia, which also potentially can be favorable to our Seahawks because we don't know. No game has ever been played in Australia. We don't know how the time zone difference, the travel, all the preparation to play that game is going to impact not only the 49ers but the Rams because it is a divisional game. But we'll get to the Rams in a second. We don't know how that's going to impact them. But nonetheless, weeks 2 through 4, they're in Santa Clara, and again, we just talked about it. Being at home is an advantage, especially for a long stretch of time. So they got 4 straight home games to start the season. They've got 4 primetime games this year. One against the Rams, the Commanders, the Vikings, and the Chargers. And they do play 3 games this season where they have at least 10 days of rest. That's week 2 against the Dolphins. This is after that Australia trip that I just made mention to, week 9 against the Raiders, and week 16 against the Chiefs. So kind of scattered throughout the season, they've got these sort of mini bye weeks, if you will. Now, here's some key games throughout the entire season where we need or want the 49ers to lose. Again, I just told you emotionally we want them to lose every game. Um, Mathematically, that's just not gonna happen with how that team is built. I mean, they were decimated with injury last year and still eked out 12 wins. That's nothing to sneeze at. So, week 2 against the Dolphins. Week 3, like we just mentioned, to the Cardinals. Week 4, the Broncos. Week 6 against the Commanders. Week 9, the Raiders. Week 14 against the Rams. Week 17 against the Eagles. The reason why we're focusing on these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7-ish games is because they're home games for the 49ers. And every home game, like I said, it almost counts as double in case there's a tiebreaker. So we really want them to lose those games. Now, there are 2 games where we want them to win, one against the Rams and one against the Cardinals. Week 1 in Australia, if they can eke out the win against the Rams to start the season, that will bode well for us, the Seahawks. And if they beat the Cardinals, as they are projected to do by all betting odds. Moving on to number 2, the Rams. The Rams have 7 primetime games this year. No shocker. That's a LA market. They're gonna get a lion's share of the primetime games, and they happen to be kind of good. Um, and they just bolstered their roster with all these free agent signings or trades that have been made this offseason. Some big names, don't necessarily want to reiterate it. But 7 primetime games against the 49ers, Giants, Broncos, Bills, Packers, Chiefs, and us, the Seahawks. They have 3 games as well where they are coming off of at least 10 days worth of rest. Week 2 against the Dolphins, week 9 against the Chiefs or the Raiders, and week 16 against well, actually, that can't be right. The typo in my notes because this is identical to the 49ers. So let 1 second. I want to get this right. I want to see which one is accurate. Sorry, bear with me. Oh, you know what? I don't have to look that way. I got it right in front of me here. Let me go to the Rams. Um, they have 10 days worth of rest in week 2. It's not the Dolphins. It is the Giants in week 2. In week 12, they've got 10 days worth of rest against the Packers. And in week 14, they've got 10 days worth of rest against the 49ers. Sorry about that. I'm glad I caught that in real time. Um, so yeah, 3 games where they have what we'll call mini buys, um, and then key games that we want them to lose. Weeks 1 and 2, start off the season with 2 losses would be great against the 49ers and the Giants. The Giants game is a home game. The Bills in week 5, Cardinals in week 6, Chargers in week 8, Packers week 12, Chiefs week 13, Cowboys week 15. Those are all home games for the Rams. If they could lose all of those games, that would be fantastic. In the 2 games that we want them to win, week 10 against the Cardinals, week 14 against the 49ers. So in a perfect world, all 3 of our division rivals would go 2-15 for the entire season. In a perfect world. I know that sounds odd. Hopefully the math made sense. Um, because if any one of those go 0-17, that means that our division rivals have got uh, swept um, their opponent, both of them, no matter who the 3 are. So if it's the Cardinals who go 0-17, which they are, they are projected to do by all odds makers, that means that the Rams and the 49ers have swept them. Obviously, we have as well, but we want to be the only division rival that sweep them. So we want every single one of our rivals to split their 2 games against one another, and preferably we want the road teams to win every single one of those games. Hopefully that makes sense. So that concludes the 3 teams in the NFC West who are not the Seahawks, which means when we go to episode 5, it'll be a full breakdown of the schedule that matters the most, which of course is our own. We'll break down every single game, um, why it's important, the rest that we can anticipate, how it may impact. We're going to do a full breakdown of our own, deeper, a deeper dive than what we've done with any of the other 31 teams. So we'll continue this series. Will wrap it up in episode 5. Again, thank you for everyone who has either tuned in live or maybe perhaps you've caught us on the um, um, you've caught us through the clips on Instagram or Facebook, or maybe you've watched this video after it's posted. But we appreciate you all. If you're looking for What's Hawkin, please make sure that you're looking for What's Hawkin 12. That's What's Hawkin without the G. It's just Hawkin. What's Hawkin 12. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, TikTok, and of course here on YouTube. I'm your host, Tay P, aka Tay us in. Peace.